Okay. Good afternoon or good morning, everybody, depending on where you are. Thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully you can all hear me. If you can hear me, let us know in the chat. Tell us where you're tuning in from today. I can start off by asking everybody to keep their microphones on mute, just so we don't get any disturbance.
Yeah, thì informal
Everybody. Oh, hello, Ursula from London. Okay, let me know if you can hear me in the chat box and let us know where you are tuning in from today. Just going to give it a couple more minutes just to wait for a few more people to come in, and then we shall begin. Hopefully you can all hear me okay. Just a reminder, if I can ask you to all keep your microphones on mute. Oh, we have somebody from Minnesota. Hello, welcome. Hello, Jacqueline from South London. Perfect, thank you. Confirming you can hear me. Okay, just going to wait another minute or so and then we shall begin, because I know you all are really busy making all these amazing bookings and you want to get off and just continue with your day and attend to your clients. So we hopefully won't keep you too long this afternoon. I'm going to go ahead and begin sharing my screen just so we can get started. Okie dokie, so good afternoon for those who are in the UK, in Europe. Good morning if you're in Saint Lucia, you're in America, or anywhere else in the world. Hello and welcome to this Saint Lucia Culture and Community webinar. For those who don't know me, my name is Nicole Compton and I am the Sales Marketing Manager for Trade at the Saint Lucia Tourism Authority UK office. My email address is on the screen, so if you are in the UK or Europe and you want to connect with me, I'm more than welcome to. If you're in the US, you can definitely still connect to me and I can direct you to one of our US managers who will be more than happy to assist you. So we have an amazing webinar planned for you this afternoon, talking about the culture and the community of Saint Lucia, what it means to us, and how your clients or yourselves can get involved in that. I do have two co-hosts here with me this afternoon. The first co-host is Mrs. Carolyn Chubetskoy. She is the Executive Director of Marketing and Operations at Anne Chastney and Jadenton Resort. So she'll be telling you all about her two properties in Saint Lucia. We also have Sarah Lambert. She's the Marketing Manager of Hotel Chocolat, Rabbit Hotel in Saint Lucia. So she'll also be telling you about the property and some of the amazing things you can do there as well. I decided to do this webinar a little bit different today. We're going to do an A to Z of Saint Lucia's culture and community. So I'm going to take you through a couple of things that come to mind when I think of the culture and community of Saint Lucia. So starting off with A for me represents the Amazona versicolor, also known as the Saint Lucian parrot or the Jacques parrot. This is the national bird of Saint Lucia, and it's also one of the 5 endemic species in Saint Lucia. As of 2022, there's a total number of 195 species of bird that can be found in Saint Lucia. So Saint Lucia is a bird watcher's paradise. So anybody that is into bird watching or just want to be able to take some amazing photos of birds can definitely be done in Saint Lucia. B is for black sandy beaches. Because Saint Lucia is a volcanic island, we do have the Caribbean's only drive-through volcano. You can find some beautiful black sandy beaches on the southwest coast of the island. Just going to admit a couple of people. Yes, so you will see some of that possibly in Anne Chastain's presentation, because they do have a lovely beach which is along one of those black sandy beaches. C is for culinary delights, and in Saint Lucia, we do culinary quite amazingly. We try to do a lot of farm to table, so a lot of what we can grow in Saint Lucia, we will serve in a lot of our restaurants, our pop-up kitchens, our little street food, our national foods that you can get around the island. They do say that various fruits and veg grow in St. Lucia quite well because it is a volcanic island. So we do have those extra nutrients, which just make everything really nice and sweet and amazing and taste amazing. Some of the places that I love to eat in St. Lucia is some of the local restaurants like Orlando, which I'll tell you about later, or Big Chef, or even some of the restaurants in our hotels as well. And with our resorts today, we'll tell you about the amazing restaurants that they have on their properties. D is for diving. We have 22 dives, over 22 dive sites in St. Lucia. You can dive beneath the pitos, you can dive at some of the wrecks, which are near the pitos as well. So it's definitely a place for dive lovers and anybody who is interested in diving. Moving swiftly along to E. E is for events. We host a year-round calendar of events. We have Saint Lucia Independence, which takes place in February of every year, on the 22nd of February. This was the day that Saint Lucia actually declared its independence from the British Commonwealth, and that is actually that is celebrated around the island, also in all the overseas areas as well. So in the UK, US, anywhere there's Saint Lucians, we do celebrate our Independence Day. So Lucia Charleston Arts Festival is back. It will be on from the 5th to the 14th of May this year. We have an amazing lineup of artists from all over the world performing. So if you do have any clients who are in St. Lucia around that time, definitely head over to our website, www.stlucia.org. Check out the lineup, and it's a place where you can also purchase tickets. One of my favorite events of the year is Saint Lucia Carnival, that culminates on the 17th and the 18th of July this year. It's a celebration of our Caribbean heritage, our Saint Lucian heritage, where we get to enjoy Caribbean music and a beautiful artistry of some of the local artists who produce the costumes in Saint Lucia. And we have this parade for 2 days. Creole Heritage Month takes place from the whole month, during the whole month of October. This year, Creole Day, also known as Journée Creole, will take place on the 29th of October. And that is a celebration of our French and Creole heritage that we once had. So St. Lucia was 7 times British, 7 times French. She was fought over 14 times by the British and the French. She was seeded by the French in 1814, which is why English is the main language that we speak. However, we do speak broken French, also known as Creole, as part of that French heritage. So during the month of October, we celebrate this island-wide through dance, through music, through poetry, and also through food and drink. The Atlantic Rally for Cruisers is another event that forms part of our calendar. This takes place in December. It starts off in Las Palmas and just at mid-November, and they arrive in St. Lucia anywhere from the first week of December. And it's something, it's an event that's been taking place for over 30 years. Sailors, anybody taking part in the ARC come to St. Lucia. And it's also a great opportunity for them to see the island as well if they've not seen it, and sail around the island and also the Caribbean. St. Lucia National Day, also known as the Festival of Lights, is celebrated on the 13th of December every year. This is the feast of patron saint Saint Lucy, she's the patron saint of light, in which the island's actually named after. And so we celebrate this day as our national day every year on the 13th of December. F is for flower festivals. In St. Lucia, we have 2 flower festivals. One is called the La Rose, or the La Rose, said in Creole, or the La Marguerite, also known as the La Marguerite Festival, where some countries have societies and they're grouped by class and race. St. Lucia, over 100 years ago, were grouped by 2 societies whose patron were flowers. They celebrated this flower. So as generations have gone past, you find that the older generation transfer this on to the newer generation. They still celebrate these 2 flower festivals. These were 2 historical societies who would use these times. La Rose is celebrated on the 13th of August every year, and the Marguerite Festival is celebrated on the 17th of October of every year. G is for Girls Street, one of my favorites. And if anybody in the chat has been to St. Lucia and you've not been to the Girls Street Party, have you really experienced St. Lucia? Girls Street Party is a street festival that takes place every Friday except Good Friday in the streets of Grosley. It's a chance for visitors to mix with the locals, try some local food and rum, some beer, fresh catches for the day. So it's a place where you can enjoy some culinary delights and really get a chance to experience St. Lucian culture. H is for Helen of the West. Saint Lucia is often called the Helen of the West. This is based on Greek mythology, Helen of Troy, who's said to be one of the most beautiful women in the world and was fought over for many years. So a British historian decided to actually name the island Helen of the West Indies because the island was fought over by the British and the French for many years. And she has been known as one of the most beautiful islands in the Caribbean, which is why we say let her inspire you, because she's also the only country in the world to be named after a woman. I is for Land of the Iguanas. Saint Lucia was previously known as Leilani Lahu, which also means Land of the Iguanas, because of the iguana inhabitants during those times of 600 AD. This was the times when the Caribs, were settlers in Saint Lucia, and there was many iguanas in that area at that time. This name was then changed into Hiranura, which is also the name of our international airport in the south of the island in Vieux Fort. She is for Journée Creole, also known as Creole Day, which I briefly touched on, which is a celebration of that Creole heritage that we once had. It's traditional that for Creole Day, they will cook on these traditional coal pots. You would also taste traditional food done in traditional ways, and just even the place settings like the bowls, the knives, the forks, the spoons would be taken back from how they would do it over 100 years ago. So it's definitely a time where we tune back into that history and that culture that we once had, just to celebrate this Creole Day and this Creole heritage. K is for Cabaret Crawl. It is a initiative that has been started by the Saint Lucia Tourism Authority, where we encourage visitors and guests to enjoy the local bars and pubs of Saint Lucia with this cabaret crawl. Cabaret means in Creole a house, a rum shop, and a crawl, which is like a pub crawl. So we're saying cabaret crawl to visit many different rum shops or pubs in Saint Lucia and just taste some of the local beer, which is Piton Beer, named after our Twin Peak Piton Mountains, or some of our local rums as well. L is for location. St. Lucia is located in the Eastern Caribbean. She measures 27 miles long and 14 miles wide. And she does have two airports, international airports in Vieux Fort in the south, which I previously mentioned. And she also has a domestic regional airport as well in the north of the island in Castries. Castries is the capital of St. Lucia, and unique areas that I will mention would be Soufrière, which is where our drive-through volcano is located, and also the Pitons, also Rodney Bay Marina, named after a Navy SEAL, Admiral Rodney, who was stationed on Pigeon Island when they were fighting for the island of St. Lucia. M is for Marigot Bay. Now, I love Marigot Bay, and this image does not do it justice. Marigot Bay has been described as one of the prettiest bays in the Caribbean. It was actually the set of the 1967 Dr. Dolittle movie. And just on that little bit of beach in the right hand, in the center and on the right hand side, there's a restaurant there called Doolittle's, which is named after the movie that was filmed in Marigot Bay. Marigot Bay can also be seen as a hurricane hole. So you do find during the hurricane season, sailors who have yachts or are sailing around the Caribbean, if there is a hurricane in the atmosphere, they will head into Marigot Bay where they will be protected. N is for our national dish. Now, our national dish in St. Lucia is green bananas and salted cod, also known as saltfish. Yes, green bananas, as in bananas in its green state. We boil it and then we would saute up the salted cod with peppers, chilies, etc. And we would serve it with like a fresh salad or even some avocado, and that is considered our national dish. O is for Orlando's Restaurant Bar in Soufrière. In 2020, Travel and Leisure named Orlando's Restaurant and Bar as one of the top restaurants in the world. So it's definitely one that I recommend if you are in St. Lucia, if you're in Soufrière and you want to try some local Caribbean cuisine, but some elite local Caribbean cuisine. Chef Orlando does local food many different ways. You can see here we utilize the inside of a coconut as plating dishes. We actually utilize coconuts in various different forms. We use the whole of coconuts in St. Lucia, whether it's from the water to the coconut inside to make desserts and sweets, to making coconut oil, to using for art and also cutlery as well. So if you do have any clients who want to try some very elite special dining in St. Lucia, then Orlando's Restaurant and Bar in Soufrière is definitely one that I would recommend. P is for Pigeon Island National Park. Pigeon Island is actually one of my favorite places in Saint Lucia because it has a lot of history and a lot of culture behind it. You can see the original ruins there where the British were stationed when they were fighting for Saint Lucia with the French who were stationed in Martinique, which is located in the northern part of the island. I mentioned before that the French ceded to the British in 1814, which is why Saint Lucia is predominantly an English-speaking country, but we do have that French Creole that we speak as well. And in 1972, Pigeon Island was actually joined to Saint Lucia. This is where resorts like the Landings Resort and Spa and also Sandals Grand now sit. So you can actually head straight into Pigeon Island to do a tour of the island. You can go up to Fort Rodney, which is named after that Navy SEAL, Admiral Rodney. And on a clear day, you can actually see straight into Martinique as well. Pigeon Island's also home to many of our events, from our jazz festival events to carnival events, any big shows and concerts that we host in Saint Lucia. Q is for quadrille. Quadrille is a fashionable dance which was popular in the 18th and the 19th century, which was brought to St. Lucia by the Europeans. It's a type of square dance or folk dance that is done to traditional folk music. This was then adapted in various different ways to form the dances that we have now. It consists of a male and a female lead, and they have this traditional madras print outfit that they wear when they do the quadrille dances. So sometimes if you come to many St. Lucian events, you will see that because this is quite unique to us, and also the madras print is also quite unique to us. R is for rainforest. So rainforests take up the majority of St. Lucia. We are a very green, a very lush island. Just the transfer around the island, you get to see that in the sense where you be weaving and bobbing through the rainforest as you go from the north to south of the island. And it's a perfect place to actually explore. So if you have any clients who are into exploring or you love exploring yourself, St. Lucia has an abundance of rainforest for you to trail through, hike through, look for water, search for waterfalls, bird watching, butterfly watching, and so we definitely try to utilize our rainforest as much as possible, and we really give you a traditional Caribbean experience. S is for Sulphur Springs, also known as our drive-through volcano. Sulphur Springs is an active volcano, but we haven't had an eruption over 100 years, and that means quite a lot to us. We do get some activity just like any other volcano. You can, in the mud pools, which is just off the side of the volcano, you can do a sulfuric mud bath. Temperatures around 45 degrees Celsius, and they do say a sulfuric mud bath makes you come out looking 10 years younger. Now, the Sulphur Springs is definitely one of our products that we offer in St. Lucia when you're thinking of wellness and health and well-being. So it's definitely an option, a natural option that your clients can enjoy in St. Lucia outside of all the various different massages and other experiences that we have on island. T is for Tet Paul Nature Trail, one of my favorite hikes. If the pitons is a little bit too strenuous for you or for your clients, you can definitely do the Tet Paul Nature Trail. The picture says it all, Stairway to Heaven. And as you climb up the Stairway to Heaven, this is the view that you're met with of the Caribbean Sea and also of one of the Piton Mountains. Takes about 45 minutes to go completely around Tet Paul. So it's definitely a hike that is moderate. If you want something a little bit more strenuous, we do have an option of a 3 peaks challenge, or even the 1 peak challenge, where you can climb any one of our 3 mountains, which is Go Piton, Pitou Piton, and also Mount Jimmy. I was fortunate enough to climb Go Piton in 2019, and it definitely is a challenge, but I definitely recommend it to anybody looking to tick something off their bucket list, because the view from the top is undescribable. Moving on to U. So U is for Unity of St. Lucian Associations. I chose to choose them as U because they're an association in the UK who are a collaboration of 4 different associations: the St. Lucia Association of London, 1963, the Ancillary Association, 1992, the Canaries Association, or Sardinian Association. These 4 associations do various different events. They host various different events and dances and also fundraisers throughout the year, which go to support local communities and local charities in St. Lucia. So, for example, the School of Music, one of the orphanages in Beaufort or Soufrière, Association for the Blind or for the Deaf. So a lot of the projects and the stuff that they do in the UK, they donate this and they give back to Saint Lucia. They also support various different Saint Lucians in the UK who have their own businesses, whether it's traditional wear out of Madras prints or whether it's making beauty products out of local products that you can get in St. Lucia, if it's sea moss or coconut oil or even just the cocoa butter. So they do try to support as many St. Lucians at home and abroad as much as they can. So I wanted to choose them as you to just show that unity doesn't just start and end in St. Lucia. It does go across the board to with some of our associations who are out of the island as well. V is for Vieux-Fort. This is the local town near the airport in St. Lucia. It actually was used as an American airfield, which is the reason why country and Western music is very popular in St. Lucia. During World War II, when the Americans were stationed in Vieux-Fort, they were able to pick up radio stations in the US, traditionally in the Southwest coast, where they played a lot of country, they listened to a lot of country music. So they would, to entertain themselves, they would dance this country music, and in turn they taught this music and the dances to locals, which is why country and Western music is quite big in St. Lucia. We often host events and festivals which are traditionally country and Western, and it's something growing up on the island that you do start learning. Quadrille is also a form of country and Western music as well. That's got a couple of other ethnicities and cultures mixed into it, but Vieux-Fort is known as also the Old Town, because one of the oldest towns as well in the island. W is for waterfalls. We have over 22 waterfalls, rivers and springs in St. Lucia, so something for everybody to enjoy, everyone to experience, to try. We have an activity called Chasing Waterfalls, where you can visit at least 7 waterfalls, rivers or springs in a day. So it definitely makes gives your trip to St. Lucia a little bit of an edge, and it's something different that your clients can enjoy. X is for famous St. Lucian artist called Llewellyn Xavier. He was made quite popular in some of his oil paintings. He loves to do a lot of mixed media work. He was also featured on one of our limited edition bottles of Chairman's rum. They used his print for this bottle, just for a way for us to celebrate our famous artists, musicians that we have in St. Lucia. Some of his work can be seen at the Victoria and Albert Museum, just to name a few, and also many other museums as well around the world. Y is for yachting. As mentioned, the Ark comes to St. Lucia every year, so yachting and sailing is quite popular for us in St. Lucia. Even just catamaran cruises as well, being able to sail down to the Pitons and see the Pitons from sea is also a beautiful way to see it, as well as from land as well. So if you have anybody who is into yachting, they can charter boats from St. Lucia. We have yachting schools as well who can teach people to sail and also take them down to around the coast. And we do have two marinas in St. Lucia, the Rodney Bay Marina and the Marigot Bay Marina as well. And also the Soufrière dock is an area where you can dock into and head into Soufrière. So sometimes you find people sail into St. Lucia from other Caribbean islands, and then they would dock into Soufrière, and they can go do the mud baths and the waterfalls and various different activities, or they can dock into any of the other marinas and head into the island to experience it and explore. We have 3 ziplining sites in St. Lucia for you to enjoy. One of my favorites is definitely Mont Coubarel in Soufrière, where you can zipline right in front of the Pitons. You get this most amazing view of the Pitons. The guides there are amazing. They, if you're scared, if it's a little bit too challenging for you, they definitely make it quite fun and enjoyable. So I always try to make sure that I include ziplining if I can on any of my fam trips and trips to St. Lucia. Now that we've come past my little quick A to Z of St. Lucia, I'm just going to give you a couple of useful facts. So we do have direct flights from the UK, US, and Canada. From the UK, you can fly British Airways, Virgin Atlantic, and TUI. You can fly into our international airport in the south, in Vieux-Fort. But if you have any clients who are island hopping within the Caribbean, they can also fly into our domestic regional airport as well in Castries. Now, the transfer from the international airport to Castries takes about 90 minutes by road. We do have a helicopter transfer that takes about 10 minutes, and also a ferry transfer as well. That takes about an hour to transfer between the north and the south. Saint Lucia has tropical all year round weather, ranging from mid to high 20 degrees Celsius, sometimes even 30 degrees Celsius and above as well. The island typically does have two seasons. A rainy season is from June to November. Dry season is from December through to May. However, even during the rainy season, we have little to no rainfall at all, or what we call liquid sunshine, because it is what helps us stay nice and green and lush. We accept two currencies in Saint Lucia, the Eastern Caribbean dollar and also the US dollar is accepted island-wide. And UK and Irish and American Canadian passport holders do not require a visa to travel to Saint Lucia. All that we ask is that your visa is valid for the duration of your trip. So you don't need to have 6 months or 3 months like some countries. It just needs to be valid for your time in Saint Lucia. This is how you can get to Saint Lucia. British Airways offers a daily service out of London Gatwick. TUI also offers a once-a-week service out of London Gatwick, and Virgin Atlantic offers a 3 times a week service out of London Heathrow during the winter months. That should be starting from the end of October or November into March of 2024. This should be on sale now, so you can definitely check to get your clients booked. We do have some amazing fares and amazing deals at the moment. We've also got great connections out of North America with American Airlines, JetBlue, United, and also hubs like Miami, Dallas, Philadelphia, New York, Atlanta, Chicago, just to name a few. As of the 1st of February this year, you no longer require a health screening form to travel to Saint Lucia. All that you do require from the 1st of March is to complete an electronic immigration form, which you can find on our website, www.stlucia.org/entry. This now replaces those forms that you would get onto the aircraft. So everything's all done in electronically, so you don't need to get those forms on the plane. So we're now moving into the digital ages, and so everything is becoming streamlined. And I would actually say that was probably one of the positives of COVID, having all these forms and stuff online that you had to do. It definitely inspired us to put more stuff online just to make everything a little bit more seamless and more easier. We have luxury transfers available to transfer from the airport to your resort. We do have that ferry and that helicopter transfer as well that I mentioned. If you do want to inquire about them a little bit more, definitely check out their websites, Fantasy Island for the ferry transfer and also Saint Lucia helicopters. For those who don't know, if you are in the UK, we do have a training program called Saint Lucia Expert, where we encourage you to register, take the training, and you can log any bookings that you do make to Saint Lucia. For those in the US and North America, we have a separate training program. What I can do is I can share the details to that with you on the follow-up that I send after this webinar, because I know we do have some North American agents on. So just make sure when you are registering and logging in, you're registering on the right platforms, because sometimes we do get a little bit of crossover, but they are slightly separate. Just got a short video to show you, just to give you an idea of Saint Lucia, to sum up everything that I've mentioned for you in motion.
Let her welcome you, warm you, wow you, with her sunshine, fun times, and vibrant hospitality. Let her excite you, amaze you, surprise you with wonderful adventures on tropical land, sand, and sea. Let her indulge you, treat you, spoil you with her world-class hotels, resorts, and limitless luxury. Let her relax you, restore you, renew you with her nurturing nature, spas, and serene tranquility. Let her delight you, entice you, romance you with her unique charm, magic, and island beauty. She is Saint Lucia. Let her
I hope that I've inspired you a little bit with Saint Lucia. For those who've not set foot on her, not experienced her, we'd love you to stay connected with us. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. My email address is also on the screen as well. If you have any questions, queries, or you want to tell me about a time you had in Saint Lucia or your clients, I'd love to hear from you. So thank you so much for letting me inspire you with Saint Lucia. If you have any questions, I will be having a look in the chat now, just to take any questions that you may have. And if not, then I will hand over to our next presenter, who's going to take you through her presentation, but then I will be in the chat as well, looking out for any questions. I don't see any questions. So I'm going to hand over now to Sarah, who's going to tell you all about Rabbo Hotel in Saint Lucia.
Perfect. Just bear with me as I get my presentation up. Can everyone see that okay?
Yes.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for having me on today, Nicole, and it's great to get the opportunity to speak to you all. So today I'm going to talk about Rabbo Hotel from Hotel Chocolat. So we are set on the Rabbo estate in Soufrière, which is one of the oldest cocoa farms on the island. Hotel Chocolat bought the estate in 2006. So now it's home to our 25 lodge Rabbo Hotel, as well as a working organic cocoa farm where we grow some of our own cocoa that goes into chocolate at Hotel Chocolat in the UK. And also Project Chocolat, which is our tour experience. So throughout the estate, a lot of what we do is about culture and community. So it's a really good fit and great to be able to have the opportunity to talk to you guys about all the initiatives that we have throughout our products. And today there's quite a lot that I could cover, so I really wanted to focus on 4 key areas today to just do a bit of a deep dive into kind of our location, our people, our tour, and our partners, and how those really have culture and community threaded throughout them. So to start off with, I'll talk a bit about our location. So set 1,000 feet above sea level in the rainforest, we have the most stunning view of the Piton Mountains, and our architecture really was designed to complement that location. So our restaurant is kind of set to hero that beautiful view of the Petit Piton in particular. So while you're sipping on cacao cocktails and cacao cuisine, you can really take in and enjoy the view. And it does have a pretty spectacular sunset that our guests get to enjoy. We also have designed kind of our lodges in a way that really complements its heritage, as well as the beautiful surroundings. You can see there, or that they're sort of set on stilts to really give you the best optimum view of their surroundings, and very much a blend of sort of contemporary style and Saint Lucia charm. They're very much open air, so connecting with the nature that they're set in, very woody and earthy materials, high pitched roofs, which is kind of in line with a lot of the traditional architecture that you see on the island. We've also actually kept the original estate house in its original form, and we use this as a location that some of our guests can go and have dine there for a bit of a different experience. So yeah, we've really tried to keep the architecture in line with complementing the beautiful surroundings that the hotel is sat in. The second element, as mentioned before, we're sitting amongst the rainforest. This is partly because it's an amazing place to grow cacao, absolutely flourishes in the biodiverse environment that the rainforest provides. So we have we're very proud to actually, as part of that, be responsible for kind of maintaining 140 acres of primary and secondary rainforest as part of that. And yeah, it obviously creates a pretty spectacular setting to stay in as well. I think another key part of that is that the rainforest is extremely important for kind of the eco-diversity on the island. We are lucky in Saint Lucia to have so much rainforest, and that's why it's really important for us to protect it. And Hotel Chocolat in particular are very focused on their sort of gentle farming approach, which is all around kind of being kinder to the earth as we grow that precious bean. So yeah, it's important for us to kind of keep and maintain that beautiful rainforest. And then thirdly, obviously, as we are on a working cacao farm, our Rabbo estate has very much become a destination. So we open our arms kind of to the local community. We're actually a destination that sort of local schools and colleges will come and visit the farm to learn about farming and what we do there. And we also have kind of Rabo Lake in the centre of the estate, which is steeped in history, and so often we get school trips coming to learn a bit more about the history of the island. We also like to offer local rates to our to locals to come and experience Project Chocolat, which I will talk a bit more about in a few slides time, because we want people, the local community, as well as our kind of international tourists, to come and experience everything that we do on the estate. The next area I want to delve into is kind of our people, who are at the core of who we are at Rabo Hotel and on the estate. So we have 149 Saint Lucian employees across the hotel and the estate. Our general manager is actually a Saint Lucian woman, and we have a really great gender split across all of our workforce. And they're a really lovely community of people, and a lot of them come from sort of Soufrière and Choiseul, so not too far away. And the beauty of that as well is that delving into the cuisine side of things, we serve cacao cuisine in our restaurant, but also we're very focused on trying to source locally sourced ingredients. So about 95% of the ingredients in our Rabo restaurant is sourced on island, and even things like the tomatoes come from one of our staff's father's farms. So there's a real connection into the local community and how they kind of support us as well as us supporting them. And so we're also active members of the Soufrière Foundation, obviously being based down there, and help kind of with, they're collectively promoting, encouraging, supporting kind of local development initiatives. Being kind of part of that enables us to keep in touch with the needs of the local communities, but also look at ways that we can kind of give back. How many people are familiar with Project Chocolat, but we launched this last in 2021. Just realizing we're in 2023 now. Summer of 2021. So we have historically had a tree to bar experience that we ran at our hotel, which was the opportunity to tour the rainforest and make chocolate from scratch. This was a really successful tour, and in 2021 we kind of transformed 6 acres of the estate and built this sort of actual location where it could be scaled up essentially, so more visitors could come through it, and we could also expand and start other initiatives on the site as well. So you can see there on the left, and that kind of gives you an evening view of the sort of the magnitude of the main sort of buildings. So as well as kind of the tour element, which we've obviously scaled up, it's become kind of a hub to bring communities together. So there's a number of other kind of initiatives that we have now done to really kind of bring people into this space. Project Chocolat Tour as itself is an agri-tourism experience, so it's connecting chocolate lovers with our approach, which is ethical cacao growing, which is a really important initiative for Hotel Chocolat, but also kind of that approach to cacao growing is what helps maintain the rainforest on the island. Throughout the tours, our guests have a really authentic experience and learn the history of cacao and how it was grown on the island, as well as kind of using traditional practices like Mayan warriors, using the pestle and mortar to bash up the beans, and from the opportunity to sample traditional cacao tea, which is drank across the island. As said, we've kind of expanded the purpose of this space, and so now we actually also celebrate a lot of the national holidays and host cultural music events at Project Chocolat. So during Creole, we actually done an event for during Creole Heritage Month. We love to host country and western events. They've been really, really popular, and we've actually got Jazz au Chocolat event in May as well, in line with the big Jazz and Arts Festival that's happening on the island. And these events are really amazing because actually they're they've been really popular with the locals. It's rather than it being kind of something that's put on for just internationals, it's actually a place where internationals and locals can come together and celebrate and have a good time. So yeah, we ultimately built the space to be a place for everyone to come and enjoy, and we've kind of been really delighted that's been the reality, in it being both popular with our internationals and our locals in the community. So the final area that I just wanted to delve into was our partnerships. So we're really proud of a couple of the partnerships that we have built while we've been on the island. One of the more recent ones is with an organisation called Helen's Daughters, who are a non-profit organisation who work at grassroots levels to provide capacity development training, mentorship, and access to high value markets for sort of female farmers who've been largely unacknowledged and under-supported in the agricultural sector. Essentially, they strive to kind of give farmers the tools and the training that they need to be able to increase production of foods on the island and access the markets where they can kind of make sort of more money, particularly sort of the hotel sector, which as we know is booming. So it's founded by rural women, and the board is split between kind of working professionals and government. And yeah, they focus on economic development of their farmers and learning new skills and sort of a safe and supportive environment. So their values really aligned with a lot that we do, or that we have as well, and sort of entering into conversations with them and how we could best support in a partnership capacity. The main thing for them wasn't sort of donations in money, it was they needed space and land, so land that they can use to train and upskill the farmers part of their community, but also a space where they can come together as a community and it's safe and a supportive environment. So the partnership began kind of at the beginning of last year, but we officially sort of launched an apprenticeship program with them in October. So we dedicated a piece of land on Project Chocolat and have built an aquaponics farm, where the 2 apprentices essentially come on an annual basis and they work on the farm. They particularly grows fast cash crops, which are particularly useful for selling back into the hotel environment. And the idea is that they receive kind of mentorship from the farmers from our own farm, and they can take those skills away and sort of put them back into their communities. It's also a hub where they bring other farmers to come and experience it and learn from as well. And we also, Project Chocolat is a great venue and a space where they can host workshops with their wider community and run initiatives like health clinics to support the farming communities. So that's hosted at Project Chocolat and has become something else that people, when they come to visit Project Chocolat, can learn about. And it's really good because it kind of builds that awareness of actually some of the issues, some of the challenges that Saint Lucia faces as well, and what's needed to help overcome them. So we're really proud of this initiative and excited to see what else we can do with it and where else it can go. And then another sort of program that we've actually had since we first bought Rabo Estate in 2006 is our Island Growers program. So Hotel Chocolat bought the estate because essentially they wanted to learn to grow their own cocoa. Obviously also realised it was a really beautiful destination and perfect to have a hotel and an experience that we could share with more people than just ourselves. But when they kind of started growing the cacao, they realised that actually a lot of local farmers were producing quite a lot of good amount of cocoa as well, and we decided to start the Island Growers program to sort of support by committing to purchase their cocoa in the aim to support the regeneration of growing it on the island. It started by supporting farmers most locally in Soufrière, but then has sort of expanded over time, and we currently have about 70 farmers who are active members and suppliers with cocoa, and we've actually now got Cavell, who's on on the right in the photo, actually on Helen's daughter's photo, he supports all of those farmers. So he goes out to their farms and they share a lot of best practice learnings from our farm. They feed things back. So it's a real sense of community. It's not just us telling them and buying their cocoa. There's definitely a two-way relationship there. And the numbers constantly changing, so we've looked at ways of how we can, you know, support that further by creating cocoa collection points and going out to go and pick it up so that it's more accessible to more farmers across the island. So that's a really amazing partnership that really fits obviously with who we are as Hotel Chocolat. Essentially, cocoa is through everything that we do. I think most people who are aware of Rabo Hotel know that, so I didn't want to delve too much into our cacao cuisine and our spa as well, where we use a lot of the cacao through that too. But I think the partnerships are what really show us, as you know, there's a sense of community there, and we get a lot out of it as well. So that's kind of the four main areas I wanted to delve into today. If any of you are not so familiar with Rabo Hotel, I've just added some links here so you can have a little bit more of a look at what we're about and what we have. So our website, we've got our social media handles for the hotel and Project Chocolat, and if you have any questions at all, there's a couple of email addresses. You're also very welcome to reach out to me directly. I appreciate I have kind of talked at you for a good 10 minutes, so if there's any questions, please do shout.
Thank you, Sarah. That was so inspiring. I mean, I know a lot of what Rabo and Hotel Chocolat does, but to see it on screen, to see all those initiatives and to hear how passionate you are when you talk about it is just absolutely amazing.
No problem. Have I stopped sharing my screen, or am I still sharing?
No, you're still sharing.
Oh, there you go. Sorry, bear with me. There you go. Thank you, Nicole.
You're welcome. So I don't see any questions in the chat, so we'll move along. But guys, if you do have any questions for any of the presenters, definitely pop it in the chat. Or if you do think of anything as the days go by, we will share all our details with all of you as well. So you can always drop us an email or give us a call if you have any questions. But we're now moving on, and we'll be heading to Anne-Chastanet and Jade Mountain with Carolyn.
Hi, I guess you can see my screen. All good?
Yes, all good.
Hi everyone. So Nicole invited me to join this webinar today. I misunderstood community and culture with culinary, so I frantically have changed some slides to be more community and culture oriented, but hope you will enjoy it. Just to give you a sense of space and location, so just also to introduce myself, I'm Carolyn Trubetskoy. My husband Nick and I are the owners of two resorts in Saint Lucia, Anne-Chastanet and Jade Mountain. We've been on the island for over 40 years. Anne-Chastanet came first. We bought that in '74. Nick also designed and built Jade Mountain. By lucky coincidence, not only are we in the most scenic part of the country, which is the southwest corner, very similar to where Sarah just presented Hotel Rabo from, but we are also surrounded by most of the island's beautiful coral reefs. Our estate is a 600-acre estate stretching over two valleys and giving us the advantage of two beaches. And in the valley behind the second beach, we have the amazing remains of an 18th century estate, which we have curated very nicely, and where we built 12 miles of hiking and mountain biking trails. And I'll talk about that a little later. As a matter of fact, I'm talking about it now. So here you have a little bit of an impression of this plantation, and we have excellent bird watching there. As a matter of fact, it was a British guest a couple of years ago that said to us, have you got any idea how good bird watching is? And we didn't. And so we invested in training local guides in bird watching and ensuring that our guests can have the best experience. This, by the way, is Mano. We call him Father Nature, or he calls himself Father Nature. His grandma was a bush doctor, so he does daily complimentary walks with our guests through the plantation, and has amazing stories to share, and also talks very knowledgeably about the history of this estate. Here are just some snapshots of the two beaches. Anne-Chastanet Beach, if you went into the water there, you have excellent snorkeling, and that's the second beach of Ans-Mamin. In the back, behind that beach are the trails I just mentioned. Our two properties are directly adjoining. So when you stay at Jade Mountain, for example, you have the best of both worlds. You can just walk down to the Anne-Chastanet, where you have the beaches, additional restaurants and additional facilities. And I always joke that Anne-Chastanet is my baby while Jade Mountain is my husband's. Anne-Chastanet, I have been working closely with the local craftsmen and artists for the last 35 years. I curated a very interesting art collection and have an art gallery, have had an art gallery at the property since 1985 to really connect our artists with our guests, and plan to do some more with this art gallery. All of the rooms at Anne-Chastanet have original art from both local and international artists. You see the fabric there called madras. This is our national fabric. It is displayed everywhere in the rooms at Anne-Chastanet. This is, by the way, one of our open wall premium rooms with these amazing views of the Piton Mountains. And at Anne-Chastanet, again, madrasas everywhere. We really celebrate our Creole heritage there. In essence, I keep saying that my husband, from the moment he bought Anne-Chastanet in 1974, operated sustainably without perhaps using that term, because in the 70s, nobody understood what meant sustainable. From the very moment he ensured that, he wanted to keep as much economic benefit as possible in the region. So we bought local, whatever could be bought locally. We built whatever could be built locally, and we have the art gallery, and we really celebrated Saint Lucia in every which way we could. One of the newest activities is actually our complimentary art classes with an artist called Sake. That's great fun. And again, Sake is also assisting me in curating my art gallery and ensuring that a lot of the artists have exposure to it. So now Jade Mountain. Jade Mountain, you may have noticed it recently was on BBC, Amazing Hotels, Life Beyond the Lobby. My husband designed and built it, and it gave Saint Lucia an amazing amount of publicity. So just to remind you, Anne-Chastanet we've had since 1974. Jade Mountain was designed by my husband, and we opened it in 2007. It looks more like sculpture than hotel structure in the traditional sense. It is truly a remarkable experience when you see the sanctuaries there. We are well known for the open wall design. You're always one-on-one with a view, no matter whether you're in your bed, on your couch, or in your amazing infinity pool. Jade Mountain only has 29 sanctuaries. It's an adults only property, and 24 of these sanctuaries have these gigantic infinity pools as part of the accommodation. You can't take a bad view because it's a celebration of our amazing Piton Mountains. It's the restaurant at Jade Mountain, and that's our major domus, our butlers. All together, Jade Mountain and Anne-Chastanet support 550 Saint Lucians with year-round employment, and obviously this had a tremendously positive effect on the community. It's been an interesting last few weeks. We received the Minister's National Sports Award for all of our contribution to sports. Nick also just 2 days ago received the Saint Lucia highest honor, the Saint Lucia Cross, in addition to the Medal of Merit Gold that is received a couple of years ago. This is all for our work that we do with the community. Honestly, there is so much that we do. It would be hard to go into a lot of detail. I will show you a little bit more, but of course, we are very grateful to the government of Saint Lucia to have recognized what we have been doing for the last 40 years. So very grateful. I invest a lot of my volunteer time into projects that are dear to me. I'm the chairperson of the Saint Lucia National Conservation Fund. I also chair the Regional Caribbean Biodiversity Fund, and I'm also the chairperson of the Education Foundation of the Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association. So we're very committed to ensuring that not just Saint Lucia, but the region will be very prosperous. I'm probably the only hotelier that also will show you an animal shelter, because my daughter-in-law, this is Charlene, she is also running the local Sufra animal shelter. It's fantastic. If you're not careful, and especially if you're from Canada or the US, you end up being a flight parent and taking one of the puppies to their forever home. So when you stay with us, we enjoy giving you behind the scenes tours. Again, to be in harmony with our community. We cannot steal the community's water, because water is very precious. So we have done a lot to try and have our own water systems. So we have a 1.5 million gallon reservoir that dates back to the 18th century that we have rehabilitated, and that serves as our base for all the water needs we have. We also have an incredible wastewater story, but that's just to tell you that there's this behind the scenes tour. We also have our own organic farm. It's about 20 minutes away from the property, and our guests can visit there. The property is known to have an exciting range of adventure activities. We have mountain bikes that you can rent from us that go through the plantation. We have our own diving operation. We have non-motorized water sports. We have also a coral nursery. So there's opportunities for our guests to participate in some of the learning more about coral nurseries and how to look after them. The dining options at the property include an entirely vegan restaurant. And again, we're getting a lot of our produce from our farm. This is our executive sous chef, Frank, who is a vegan, who is very happy when he has good produce coming from the farm. And we also help to eradicate the invasive lionfish. We do the famous eat them to beat them lionfish dinners that our guests can enjoy. And if they're divers, we even teach them how to catch the lionfish. Just another sort of impression of the farm that I mentioned, the organic farm that you can visit. It's great fun. And we do cooking classes there. We even have a microbrewery that our guests can do beer tasting in, and you're getting a double dose of chocolate today. We too have over 2,000 of our own cocoa trees, and we make our own chocolate. Our guests can go to our farm and do the whole tree to bar tour to understand better the harvesting and fermenting and roasting process of the chocolates. We make our own fine chocolate, and as a matter of fact, could inspire a whole number of Saint Lucians to become artisanal chocolate makers as well. So very proud of that. Our little chocolate lab teaches you how to make chocolate. If you don't want to make the chocolate or eat chocolate, you can drink chocolate. We have very mean chocolate martinis. And if that's not good enough, you have chocolate infused beer, or you can go to the spa and slap chocolate into your face. This is it. I'm not sure, Nicole, how much time I have. We do wonderful things with mango once a year. We call this Mango Madness. This is still from the culinary side of this presentation. And we also have, like, this is something new we do, amazing mocktails. And I think that's it for me. I want to just highlight here that we have an agent info link for you on chastanet.com, agent info, and shademountain.com, agent info. It gives you a lot of information about our properties. You have my contact details here. And I hope you learned something new, and I hope it was interesting.
Thank you, Carolyn. That definitely was another inspiring presentation. It just goes to show that our hotels in Saint Lucia do so much for the community, the local communities, and they really do give back. So when we hear now a lot of sustainable tourism, you can definitely rest assured that coming to Saint Lucia, it's definitely a good sustainable tourism destination. So thank you both, Carolyn and Sarah, for taking the time and being with us here this afternoon, just sharing a little bit more about the resorts in Saint Lucia and what they offer and what they can give to guests who come to visit. And if anybody is in Saint Lucia, you're planning to go to Saint Lucia and you want to stop by and see any of the resorts, I'm sure the owners and the managers would love to have you. So just reach out to them or reach out to myself and I can put you in touch with them. So thank you again to everyone for being on the call this afternoon or this morning with us. And I really appreciate you taking the time to being here. I do have a couple of Hotel Chocolat chocolates to give away. So I will be picking a few winners at random from the attendees list. And I will reach out to you and ask you for your address. What I probably need to do the next time I'm in Saint Lucia is maybe get some more Chaste chocolates. So I've got some, or maybe next time Carolyn's coming, so we have some that we can just give away ad hoc throughout the year. But yes, when we think of Saint Lucia, I definitely think of chocolate, and at Birth Resorts, you can do some amazing things with chocolate. So thank you so much. I don't think we have any questions. Just having a quick look. Oh, yeah, Pooja did ask what time of year is Mango Madness.
It's usually between June and July.
Okay, perfect. So usually between June or July. So that's that question. Grazia asked any agent rates. So do you both want to tell us if you offer any agent rates?
Certainly we do. Again, just email me. If we have availability, we very gladly make agent rates available.
Perfect, thank you. And Sarah?
Same to us, so just get in touch, definitely.
Perfect, thank you. And we often have something, well, every year we have this program called SLAM, which is called Saint Lucia Agent Months, where we do reach out to all our hoteliers and we ask them if they have any agent rates, whether it's room nights or dinners or lunches or anything that they can offer. And we put together a brochure that we share, and that's always valid between June and November. So that should be coming out soon. So make sure you stay peeled to our social media channels, and also everyone here will be in our database. So I will send a copy of that. So again, yes, 3 o'clock on the dot. So thank you so much for being here today. Thank you, Carolyn and Sarah. And I look forward to seeing you all soon on the next webinar, the next event, or even hosting you in Saint Lucia for another family trip. So thank you and bye. Have a lovely rest of your day.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.